You're looking at one of the most beautiful alfalfa fields that you might see really anywhere. It's not very old. In fact, it's only 3 weeks old. 3 weeks ago, this alfalfa field was just chopped down to almost nothing by a hailstorm. But because of the fertility management, because of water management, because of what the farm manager here and his consultants have done, you're really producing a heck of an alfalfa crop that's going to be worth a lot of money. You're going to be hearing from Eric Hansen. He's the farm manager here. His idea to bring in Rocky Mountain agronomics to help out with fertility needs, and also to bring in Texas Plant and Soil Lab to get some recommendations. They looked at the soil, they looked at the plant analysis, made some great recommendations. You're going to hear from all of those folks, and you'll be quite interested to figure out how they came up with a field that looks like this in such a short period of time.
Join me, if you will, on the state line that divides Idaho and Utah. On these high plains, hay production is a significant cash crop. The alfalfa that you see is irrigated. It's part of 4,000 irrigated acres on this farm, but it's head and shoulders above other farms, and it's the pride of farm manager Eric Hansen.
When I started here, we were at 3.5 ton for the year for the farm. We were pretty low quality, high salt. So I got with my field man, Jared Cook, and we started trying to implement different things to get fertilizers, different things to try to push the salts down and be able to get the soil to actually accept what we got going on.
Now, the salt that you got here really comes from the irrigation water, is that correct?
Well, I'm on a salty soil anyway, because this is the edge of the Great Salt Lake, but then I also pump on 1,200 pounds of salt per year per acre.
Now, that's not intentionally, though.
No, that's just coming from my irrigation water.
All right. When you looked at that baseline and saw that it could be improved, and you visited with Jared, what sort of a program, what sort of ideas did he bring? What did you incorporate here to produce the crop that we're standing in the middle of today?
Well, we and Jared had talked. We needed to get some sort of acid to try to push the salts down and to be able to give the root something to say, okay, this is really good soil, to get rid of that salt. So we started with a phos fertilizer, and then we also implemented Pinacal. And Pinacal is like a water max. It actually takes the soil and it separates it out so that it takes your molecules in your soil and spreads them out so that you can actually get the nutrients to the plant seed and get rid of the salt in that area.
All right. Now, you possibly took some clippings of plants and got sent away to the Texas Plant and Soil Lab?
Yes.
Okay.
Jared did all that.
All right. And what did they tell you from what the plant was telling you? You'd have been asking the plant, in other words.
And they said we needed to put like a phos acid on there in order to try to help get this stuff to go the way we needed it to go.
Okay.
And we needed to put on enough of it. We couldn't just do a short rev and be done. We had to actually continue this on in order to get the program to work. Because we had enough high salt content and enough calcium content that we had to get something in there to push it down for a little while, at least 1 to 2 crops, in order to get what we needed to get today.
All right. And where are we today as far as production and quality of your hay?
My first crop, I was at 1.5 tons to the acre. Second crop, I'm close to 4, and I'm anticipating a really, really heavy third.
And that's not you're got to clip this here.
This is second right here, and this is going to be a late second because of the hail that we had come through and knocked my hay down to where it was nothing. So
now, okay, this field was, as you say, was down to nothing, and I think we can certainly see this brown stem, and that's what was left over after the hail. How long ago was that?
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago today, it looked like this brown part of the stem. Today, it's the green part of the stem. And this is all grown in 3 weeks.
Right.
And what do you attribute that to?
My fertilizer and my watering. We have, I try to put down a 1/2 inch in a rev to get a good soil or a good water base down. If I try to go more than that, I'm trying to push too much salt. And if I go less than that, I don't have enough water to get to the plant soil like I need to. So I put on a 1/2 inch rev, every rev, and I just keep my pivots going non-stop. And I also have my field man who's out here at least once a week helping me look at the soil to determine if I need to go up on my fertilizer or if we need to change anything at all. And I also attribute a lot of this to Pinnacle, being able to hold the moisture in there around the root that I needed to hold.
Okay, now you've gone from mediocre production up to fairly good production. Do you see any better potential in the future with continuing the program?
Yes, I think if we continued the program through all 3 crops, starting and then do something heavy in the winter before we put everything to bed, put on a good heavy acid and a really good dose of Pinnacle itself, and then put these things to bed for the winter, and then do the exact same thing in the spring and start the fertilizer right off the get-go, I think we could go up quite a bit more.
Okay. Anything that I haven't asked about that you would like to add that you think is important to this conversation?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to the Texas Soil Labs for their help on all this, and Rocky Mountain Ag, and without them we wouldn't be where we're at today. So I just wanted to say thanks for all that.
We're with Jared Cook of Rocky Mountain Ag, Noel Garcia of Texas Plant and Soil Lab. Jared, what sort of a complete balance program did you recommend here to Eric for this field, or for his hay crop here?
Complete balance. I mean, really, we took into consideration the antagonism they were fighting. High salt, just high salinity in general, a history of perhaps a little bit of neglect, and we got the most accurate information we could to start out with. Good soil analysis and good plant analysis to start with. And with the help of Eric Hansen, the manager here on this farm, we established a good, solid, complete water run package. So you see the pivot behind us. Every time that pivot goes around and round, well, we're putting down key nutrient for the health of this crop.
Not just typical NP and K. It's a wide range of nutrients.
Correct. Yeah, we're using phosphoric acid, sulfuric acid type of blends that include nitrogen, potassium, zinc, manganese, copper, boron, iron, just the whole 9 yards. We found this plant was deficient in a lot of nutrient, so we will fluctuate that whole program a little bit, but every time that pivot goes, we're foliar feeding the plant as well as amending the soil. We have very high water pH. We're sitting anywhere from 7.8 to an 8.2 pH. So we use that acid to amend that pH, knock that down to about a 7.0 pH, and once we do that, the whole system comes to life. And as Eric will tell you here on the farm, I mean, things look exceptional.
This program was recommended by Texas Plant and Soil Lab, and Noah, you were certainly integral into that. You looked at the soil, had to look at the plants to tell what was in that plant too.
Yeah, exactly. When Jared first approached me about working on this farm, we took a sample and took a look at that, and I've never seen sodium so high. It's just a critically high amounts of sodium in there. And first of all, we have to create an environment that's healthy for a really good rhizosphere of this crop. So we really have to open it up. So it's a combination of trying to fix the soil structure. On top of that, bring in a biological aspect, let the microbes, healthier soil environment to help this crop off. And the other thing we did is we sort of started earlier than most people do on taking tissue analysis, where we let the crop come up around 4 or 5 inches and take that sample, submit it to make sure where we're at, and we started running that program. Soon after that, and right before each cut, we take the top 6 inches and they submit it to the lab, and then come back with a recommendation so we can tweak that recommendation a little bit.
Something that Eric had said before we started was that there had been a very thick crust on the soil. It has been reduced quite a bit, giving the roots a lot more opportunity to grow, but that was a result of part of this program that you recommended.
Yeah, well, I don't deserve all the credit. It's not only the chemical side of it and so forth, but also the water management. Eric's done a fantastic job of creating a good environment by just managing his salty water a lot better. Because you can give a great recommendation, but if you don't manage that water, it's useless.
That's the story. You heard from Eric Hansen, you've heard from Jared Cook, from Noel Garcia. We're standing in one of the best alfalfa fields that I've seen anywhere, whether it's here in the north central part of Utah, whether it's in the Midwest anywhere, on the East Coast. Just a fabulous field of alfalfa. And remember, this is only 3 weeks old because 3 weeks ago it was down to nothing because of a hailstorm. This is Stu Ellis.